Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek and I are continuing series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project. More specifically, in this instance, Wickerwaka's work in progress IGS PGM core. Because even though it's not out, you can build it from the GitHub repo, and it really shows you just how far it's come, even if it isn't perfect yet. Just so you know, the overall aspect ratio isn't quite correct, so I will be actually correcting that in post in just a moment. But otherwise, compared to the last time we talked about the IGS PGM FPGA core, Wickerwaka has definitely improved it, and now at the time of the recording, 3 different games are quote-unquote working. Just depends on your definition of what working truly means, but to me, it absolutely is showing that we're going to have a very promising future when it comes to the IGS PGM on MiSTer FPGA. And you'll see now I've actually fixed the overall aspect ratio just on the capture compared to an original Katsui board that I own and captured. That way I know that the aspect ratio is correct. But right now, taking a look at this game, everything looks 100% buttoned up. If you just pause the screen, you really wouldn't think that it was doing anything other than what an IGS PGM would be doing. So much so that I'm going to transition over to an original Katsui capture from my cart in just a moment, so you can kind of compare and contrast the footage. Now, of course, MiSTer FPGA is going to look better because it is in HDMI digital out versus this being a full analog capture via SCART. But in the same area, it really does look and play and feel like Katsui. Now, again, there's going to be some graphical glitches coming in later games, but it really does show that this thing is absolutely shaping up to be amazing. And I always say the IGS PGM is absolutely a retro gaming hidden gem platform that way more people need to experience. And even though it does emulate super well, having this in FPGA is definitely going to keep the dream alive for a lot of people, myself included. And trust me, I have a quite big IGS PGM collection. I absolutely love this hardware. Now, moving into the first boss here, big thanks to Andy D for helping with the captures on this one, because I've had a hell of a week in the last week with a lot of stuff going on, both positive and negative, so I try to keep up best I can, but he definitely helped me out getting a couple clips for this. The boss fight here looks good, feels good, and basically you have the responsiveness, because I've tested this in the background, to be able to navigate around the bullet patterns, because the number one thing about any sort of IGS PGM core, especially with the cave bullet hell games, is if it doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel right, you're going to have a very difficult time actually playing the game, and that's something that you don't want to encounter, because you have to have perfect responsiveness in your controls or else you're going to get absolutely destroyed. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've never played a bullet hell game before, you're going to get destroyed anyway until you learn the patterns, but for me personally, it's one of my favorite arcade genres, right up there with arcade racing and light gun games. It is definitely an acquired taste, but there's so many awesome cave bullet hell shmups on the IGS PGM. Getting them all on MiSTer FPGA will be incredible in a real hardware recreation, because trust me, if you actually want to buy the original boards, you better take out your wallet, because it's going to cost at least a mortgage payment. But if you go to the cart version, which are all conversions and are the most popular and prevalent, then you can get away with it for a couple $100 and definitely worth it. But of course, with MiSTer FPGA, you buy it once and you have access to all of these different cores, and that is great. Now let's move over to a beat 'em up. This is Oriental Legend. You can clearly see right now some of the sprites still have issues, and again, this is just a bonus video, early kind of sample as to what's going on, and it may have even improved slightly until you watch this video, because between the time I record these and put them out, there might be an update on the GitHub repo that improves some of this stuff. But I love talking about how things get made, and because the IGS PGM is a pretty complex piece of hardware for its time, seeing stuff run like this absolutely is entertaining to me. It's kind of the same way when we did the MiSTer FPGA Sega Saturn core testing videos and the MiSTer FPGA N64 core testing videos. People love seeing things even when they ran at 2 frames per second with corrupted graphics, because it really did show the promise of what was coming in the future. And if you've never looked at the list of IGS PGM games, I will leave a link in the description below to System 16 that shows you all of them, because trust me, there's some absolutely retro gaming hidden gems. But let's do a soundtrack sample. It's not perfect audio, but it's not going to do anything that's going to bother your ears, so you can hear where the audio currently is. But I'll be back after the soundtrack break with some more IGS PGM FPGA fun. I mean, obviously the audio there isn't correct, but it is discernible as being in-game audio and sound effects, and again, it will improve over time. And you're talking about Oriental Legend a little bit more, you can clearly see here the sprites and even the background and spots aren't rendering perfectly. That just means either there is some issue in the code or the code isn't even finished yet for some of the sprite handling on the IGS PGM. That is kind of the reality of these FPGA core developments. You can have like 75% of everything working and it will play the game and run, but it just won't run correctly. Think of it this way, if you have one dirty pin on a game cartridge, sometimes the game would actually execute its code. You'd have music, but you'd have some sort of corruption in the graphics like you see here. Now obviously it's not a dirty pin situation, but it's a situation where you just basically need more time for it to be better. But even getting from nothing to showing graphics and gameplay is in and of itself impressive, and this definitely seems like for the most part it is running at full speed. But I have to take out my Oriental Legend cart and actually test against it, and I'll definitely do that once the core is done. But of course you don't compare anything until that is the case. And as far as how long until something like the IGS PGM is done, I have absolutely no idea, because basically the PGM, while being a set hardware kind of spec, still has the ability for some games to do things differently. So you may end up in a situation where 3 or 4 games run perfectly, but the rest of the library is still a little bit behind because it uses the hardware in ways that other games don't. Because that is kind of the thing about development of game hardware, emulation, and even FPGA. Not every single game uses every single function of the hardware, so some games may be 100% coded in to run perfectly, but other games may still have issues just because that code hasn't been addressed yet. But even seeing it run here with its corrupted graphics, 10 out of 10 fun and 10 out of 10 exciting, because I'm always telling people they need to play more IGS PGM, and hopefully soon when this core gets better, it'll convince some people to try some of these games for the first time. And if you want a recommendation for one IGS PGM game to play via software emulation if you've never played it before the FPGA core is done, I can't recommend enough Demon Front. It's every bit as good as the best of Metal Slug and SNK ever made, but it's on the IGS PGM. It's basically just a Metal Slug clone with a completely different personality. Now moving over to Espigoluda here, or at least that's how I like to pronounce it, not an easy word. This was the first game that was running on the PGM core, and I showed you guys a demo video of it when there was a ton of graphical corruption, and I said that somehow Andy D, who captured that one as well, did some magic, as he was basically able to beat the entire first level without getting hit, and without being able to see like a third of the screen. Now you're definitely going to see there might still be a graphical glitch here and there, but it is so much cleaned up and it is showing progress. And a lot of times this is what actually interests me, going over the GitHub page, seeing the different commits and changes, chatting in some of the dev channels on MiSTer FPGA, and seeing the progress get made, because I love how things work. I always have, so being able to kind of follow along with that is always entertaining for me, and that's why I run these kind of demo or preview videos so you can see the changes coming in as well. Because right now if there's anything going wrong on the screen, I can't tell. But we're going to move into our next soundtrack sample, and again the audio is not going to be perfect. It is a little bit glitchy, but even if you're wearing headphones, there isn't anything in there that's going to bother you. So go ahead and listen to the audio quality in Espigoluda here, and I'll be right back to talk more about what I want to see with the PGM core moving forward, because trust me, this is definitely the one I'm the most excited about in 2026. I mean, the audio might not be perfect, but it is discernible as music from the game. The sound effects make sense, and even if the graphics definitely get corrupted, you can actually finish this game. And over on the Shmup Junkie Discord, I have told people if anyone wants to do a 1cc run of either Katsui or Espigoluda with the current graphical corruption, I think it would actually be one of the most hilariously challenging 1cc's ever, because it's not like this game is easy to 1cc when it's running perfectly. In this state, if someone could actually pull it off, it might be one of the best shmup accomplishments that I've ever seen. And trust me, if you've never watched any of the 1cc videos on YouTube for some of these games, it is absolutely insane just how talented some people out there are. Because I've only ever 1cc'd a single quote-unquote bullet hell shmup in my life, and that was the original Death Smiles, also from Cave. But even if this isn't perfect, it is going to get there. Wickerwaka has never let us down. Between the Taito F2 core, between Irem M92, there's so much fun out there. Stuff like PGM is going to be on MiSTer soon. You're going to be excited for it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.